In this episode, we're gonna read a chapter from Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. Before I start, thank you again for subscribing, sharing, and liking my videos. It always helps my channel grow and I love the support. If you have any question or desire for a particular topic, please leave them in the comment. Not only do the comments help my channel grow, but they also help me make better content for you guys. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. How to raise your energy level. How is your energy level today? Did you wake up eager to face the task ahead? Did you push your chair back from the breakfast table with the feeling that you were raring to go? And did you plunge into your work with enthusiasm? You didn't? Perhaps for some time now you just haven't had the vim and vigor you think you should have. Perhaps you have feel tired and before the day begins and dragged through your work without joy. If so, let's do something about it. Vernon Wolf, track coach, is an expert who can show us what to do. He's one of the outstanding coaches in the country. Under his tutelage, several high school students have broken national prep school records. How does he train these stars? Wolf has a double prescription. He teaches them to condition both their minds and their bodies simultaneously. If you believe you can do it, says Vernon Wolf, most of the time you can. It's mind over matter. You have two types of energy. One is physical, the other is mental and spiritual. The latter is by far the more important, for from your subconscious mind you can draw vast power and strength in time of need. Think, for example, of the great feats of strength and endurance. You read about people performing while under the stress of intense emotion. There is an automobile accident and a husband is pinned under the overturned car. In her moment of fear and determination, his tiny and frail wife manages to raise the car enough to free him. Or the insane person, his mind dominated by his subconscious running wild, can break, lift, bend, and smash with a force he can never hope for during periods of normality. In a series of articles for Sports Illustrated, Dr. Roger Bannister told how he first broke the 4-minute mile on May 6, 1954, by training both his mind and his muscles to accomplish this long-sought dream of the athletic world. For months, he conditioned his subconscious into belief that the record, which some people claim was unattainable, could be achieved. Others thought of the 4-minute mark as a barrier. Bannister thought of it as a gateway which, if he once passed through, would I open the way to many new records for himself and many other milers. And of course he was right. Roger Bannister led the way. In a period of a little more than 4 years after he first set 4-mile mile, the feat was performed 46 times by himself and other runners. And in one race at Dublin, Ireland on August 6, 1958, 5 runners ran the mile in less than 4 minutes. The man who taught Roger Bannister the secret was Dr. Thomas Kirk Cureton, director of the Physical Fitness Laboratory at the University of Illinois. Dr. Cureton has developed revolutionary ideas concerning the body energy level. They apply, he says, to both athletes and non-athletes. They can make a runner run faster and the average man live longer. There is no reason why, Dr. Cureton says, any man can be as fit as 50 as it was at 20, providing he knows how to train his body. Dr. Cureton's system is based on 2 principles. Train the whole body. Push yourself to the limit of endurance, extending the limit with each workout. The art of record breaking, he says, is the ability to take more of yourself than you've got. You punish yourself more and rest between spells. Dr. Cureton became acquainted with Roger Bannister while running physical fitness tests on European athletic stars. He noticed that Bannister's body was wonderfully developed in some ways. For example, his heart was 25% larger than normal in relation to his body size. But in other ways, Bannister wasn't as well developed as the average man. Bannister took Cureton's advice to develop his whole body. He learned to condition his mind by taking up mountain climbing. This taught him how to overcome obstacles. Equally important, he learned to break big goals down into little ones. Roger Bannister reasoned that a man ran a single quarter mile faster than he ran the 4/4 of a full mile. So he trained himself to think of the 4/4 in the mile separately. In his training, he would dash a quarter mile, then jog a lap around the track to rest. Then he would dash another quarter mile. Each time he aimed to run the quarter in 58 seconds or less. 58 times 4 equals 232 seconds, or 3 minutes and 52 seconds. He ran to the point of collapse, and he would rest. Each time, the point of collapse was pushed back a little. When he finally ran his race, it was in 3 minutes 59.6 seconds. Dr. Currington taught Roger Bannister that the more the body endures, the more it will endure. Beliefs about overtraining and stillness, he says, are myths. But he emphasized that rest is as important as exercise activity. The body needs to recover and rebuild in even larger quantity when it has been torn down in exercise. That's how strength, vitality, energy are developed. The body and mind both recharge themselves during periods of rest and relaxation. If you don't give them a chance to do so, severe damage and even death can result. Is it time to recharge your battery? There's no glow in being the richest man in the graveyard. You don't want to be the best scientist, doctor, executive, salesman, or employee lying prematurely under the most ornate headstone. A loved mother, wife, father, son, or daughter can bring happiness. Why then bring grief instead? Why be confined to a mental sanitarium or lie embalmed 6 feet under a blanket of beautiful green grass? Simply because a needless drain damaged a battery that wasn't recharged. The small child doesn't know when he is excessively tired, but he surely shows it in his behavior and action. The adolescent may realize he is over-fatigued but refuse to admit it, even to himself. Then sexual, family, scholastic, and social problems may seem unsolvable and unbearable. They motivate him to temporary or permanent destructive acts that injure himself and others. When your energy level is low, your health and your desirable characteristic may be subdued by the negative. You, like a storage battery, are dead when your energy level is 0. What is the solution? Recharge your battery? How? Relax, play, rest, and sleep. How to tell when your battery needs recharging. Here is a checklist to help you determine your present energy level. You can use it whenever you feel that your energy level is slipping. If you are a well-balanced person, your battery may need recharging when you act and feel unduly sleepy or tired, tactless, unfriendly, suspicious, querulous, insulting, hostile, irritable, sarcastic, mean, nervous, excitable, hysterical, worrisome, fearful, jealous, rash, ruthless, excessively selfish, excessively emotional, depressed, or frustrated. PMA, positive mental attitude, demands a good energy level, and vice versa. When you're fatigued, you usually positive, desirable feelings, emotion, thoughts, and action have a tendency to turn negative. When you're rested and in good health, the direction is changed back to positive. Fatigue often brings out the worst within you. When your battery is charged and your energy and activity level is up to standard, you are at your best. That is when you think and act with PMA. If your feelings and actions indicate that your better qualities are being subdued by those which are undesirable and negative, it's time to recharge your battery. Yes, to maintain your level of body, both physical and mental energy, you need to exercise both your body and mind. But there is a third factor. Your body and mind both need to be fed properly. You help to maintain your physical body by taking in quantities of wholesome, nutritious food. You maintain your mental and spiritual vigor by absorbing mental and spiritual vitamins from inspirational and religious books. Vitamins necessary for a healthy mind and body. George Carstead, PhD, former director of research for the American Farm Research Association in Lafayette, Indiana, told about a village on the seacoast of Africa. The village is more advanced than a community of similar tribes in the interior. Why? Because its inhabitants are physically stronger and mentally more alert. They have more bodily energy than the ulterior tribesmen. The difference between the tribesmen on the coast and those living inland stems from a difference in diets. The village tribesmen in the ulterior do not have a sufficient amount of proteins, whereas those on the coast obtain quantities from the fish they eat. In his book, Climate Makes the Man, Clarence Mills wrote that the United States government found some inhabitants of the Isthmus of Panama excessively sluggish in their mental and physical activity. Scientific study disclosed that both the plant and animal life on which they depended for food lacked the vitamin B. When thiamine was added to the diet, the same people became more energetic and active. If you suspect that your diet is deficient in certain vitamins and elements so that your energy level is depressed, you should do something about it. A good cookbook can help you, and there are government pamphlets available at low cost if the condition persists. Have a physical checkup. Like your body, your subconscious mind will accept and absorb mental and spiritual vitamins without effort. But unlike your physical body, the subconscious will digest and retain unlimited quantities. Unlike your stomach, it never becomes stuffed. It will take and hold as much as you feed it, and still hold more. Well, you'll find these mental and spiritual vitamins in books such as those recommended in Chapter 22, The Amazing Power of Bibliography. In effect, the subconscious mind is like a battery. From it, you can obtain tremendous surges of mental and spiritual energies which often transmute themselves into physical vitality. These jolts of energy will go to waste if we permit them to be short-circuited by needless negative emotion. But used constructively, this energy can multiply itself many times, just as a powerhouse generator produces vast amounts of useful power. The late William C. Langham, who was a prominent editor-in-chief in the book publishing business, illustrated this point beautifully in an article for Success Unlimited magazine. Langham described how energy is wasted through needless worry, hate, fear, suspicion, anger, and rage. All these waste elements, he said, could just as easily be transformed into power-producing units. To illustrate this point, Mr. Langham drew a picture of an electrical power plant. The open mouths of the furnaces, the red flames roaring inside, the water in the steam gauges bobbing at proper temperature level, the steam driving the pistons, turning the great generators, the copper commutators, golden surfaces, revolving so fast they seem motionless, green and blue sparks flashing from under the brushes, thick cables hooked up to the switchboard, carrying the electric current throughout a city for thousands of useful purposes. Then, the other side of the pictures. Langham continued. Same plant, same boilers, engines, generators. The only difference being that the switchboard was dark and the heavy cables, instead of being hooked up to the switchboard, were stuck down into a barrel of water while the workman ran tests on the plant. All of the power is in effect wasted. Not an elevator able to run, not a machine able to operate, not a single bulb able to light. And Langham continued and concluded that in the same way, a failure uses up as much energy in his work at failing as a successful person uses in winning success. Tommy Bolton, the golf champion, used to waste his energy that way. If a sliced ball missed the green, he would let go with a fit of temper. Frequently, he would become so angry that he would wrap a golf club around the nearest tree. When he read the famous prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, it changed him into a man who directed his energy into the most fruitful channels. The prayer, Tommy knew, peace of mind, and ever since he carried in his pocket a card imprinted with a portion of the prayer. It reads, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Man is the only member of the family kingdom who, through the functioning of his conscious mind, can voluntarily control his emotions from within rather than be forced to do so by external influences. He alone can deliberately change habits of emotional response. The more civilized, cultured, and refined you are, the easier you can control your emotions and feelings if you choose to do so. Fear, for example, is a good under certain circumstances. If it were not for fear of water, many children would drown. However, it is entirely possible that you are wasting your mental and spiritual energy in these or other misdirected emotions. If so, you can throw a switch to direct that energy into useful channels. How? By kicking your mind on the things you do want and off the things you don't want. Your emotions are immediately subject to action. Therefore, get into action. Substitute the positive feeling for the negative one. For example, if you are fearful and want to be courageous, act courageously. If you want to be energetic, and act energetically. But make sure, of course, that your energy is expended to a good and useful purpose. Dan Fraser of Australia gives us a wonderful case in point. Born on the wrong side of the tracks in Balmain, a waterside suburb of Sydney, Dawn had an anemic body, but she had a king-size determination to become a great swimming champion. She became the world's fastest woman swimmer. She was good, but sometimes she wasn't good enough to satisfy herself. While flying home from the Cardiff Empire Games, she read a book. It was Think and Grow Rich. I found Napoleon Hill's formula for success most inspiring, she says. I began thinking about our defeat by the English girls in the medley relay when in the freestyle leg I swam 60.6 seconds. That was 0.6 of a second faster than my own world record, but still not good enough to give us the 12-yard start we needed. I wondered whether I had given everything in me on that final lap. Then Fraser began thinking about the dream she had for so long, to become the first woman to swim 100 meters in less than 60 seconds. The magic minute, she called it. If I could have made that final leg in the magic minute, we might have won, she thought. From that moment, the old hope of cracking the minute became a burning desire within her. Call it a control obsession if you like. I made it my major ambition and formed a plan of positive action with the magic minute as my goal. As Mr. Hill advises, I decided to go the extra mile, mentally as well as physically. In addition to training her body, Miss Fraser now conditioned her mind as well. Although she has yet to achieve her magic minute as of this writing, she has cracked record after record. Athletic coaches throughout Australia have been attracted to study Napoleon Hill's teaching, according to Thomas A. Wingard, an Australian newspaperman. Top coaches, in their search for methods that will give their champions just a little bit extra over and above the regularly scientifically devised training program, are finding new inspiration in the doctrines of the great American expert, Wingard said. They are adapting Napoleon Hill's technique or mental approach to what is essentially a physical problem. Some have taken the PMA Science of Success course so they may apply the principle correctly. Is it time for you to recharge your battery? Have you now begun to apply this principle presented in Success through a positive mental attitude? Are you ready to become a champion? If so, you will want to learn how to use and enjoy good health and live longer. The subject of our next chapter. Well, once again, that was a powerful chapter from Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. The book is Success Through Positive Mental Attitude, and a great title, by the way. And I have to say this chapter is crucial to understand that why I always when it comes to manifestation and law of attraction, etc., we all think about the end goal, but we don't think about our fundamentals, which is body and mind. And I think we need, even though it's not necessarily our end goal, we need to focus on our body and minds and nurture them and take care of them in a way that will make the rest easy and effortless. Because by virtue of taking care of the mind and body, we will get to where we want to be much faster. Because a sound body and a sound mind will get to wherever we will direct our thoughts and action towards. It's just simple logic. You take care of your body and your mind, the rest takes care of itself. It's just really, really simple. It's really that simple. And although you might think that it's useless to take care of your body and mind, but the simple examples Napoleon Hill gives, are so important. The sleep, what you put in your mind, what you do with your body, going the extra mile. And of course, though these apply mostly for athletes, that you have to push yourself a little bit more and rest accordingly, which is very important. And I'm very, very glad he says this, and it's kind of surprising for a book that was so old. Because he does emphasize not only on the pushing yourself a little bit more each time to set new boundaries and transcend them each time, but he also emphasizes on the recovery that you need after you've been pushing yourself. And that's very important. That's that balance we need in life, the balance in diet, the balance in sleep, the balance in food, and the balance that we have with the thoughts of our minds. And I agree 100%. It is completely true for someone like me who has been meditating for so long. The negative, unwholesome thoughts, I will not even go. Emotions come from the thoughts we hold in mind. So if we manage to control, so to speak, to direct our thoughts toward better feelings, we won't be as drained. So once we plant seeds of positivity in our minds, which will bring about thoughts that are positive and therefore positive emotions and feelings, our life will be much better and we will directly have more energy. Of course, and I don't want to talk too much about this because I know a lot about this kind of stuff like diets and stuff like this, but it's not what I'm talking about. This it's not the subjects I want to cover in this channel particularly. Although you have to find what foods work for you, and certain foods might work for you and might not work for someone else. So when it comes to diet, trials and error, and see what works and see what doesn't work for you. That's all I have to say. But when it comes to sleep is the part about sleep is so important, because that's so true. I can see the difference between when I'm a bit more sleep deprived and when my sleep has been optimal, quote unquote. I do have it is much more easier to be positive when you are well rested. When you sleep deprived, it's like a switch. You will get to a negative state of mind much faster, and it will be harder for you to cope with it because you just don't have the mental energy. Because that's what this positive mental attitude brings about, energy, and that energy is also called happiness. That's the energy you derive and you get from meditation is happiness, peace of mind, because you have stillness, and that stillness brings about inspiration, positive emotion, positive, and all that good stuff. So I don't want to talk too much about this because I think Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone have done a really, really good job. But yes, do pay attention to your health, and oftentimes you will see that those stress levels, that's why I recommend sleep before meditation. Sleep is more important than meditation. You will see that by virtue of just sleeping better, quality and quantity matters when it comes to sleep. When sleeping maybe a bit more and better, you will reduce a lot of your negativity like this in the blink of an eye, so to speak. You will see that your life will get better by this, and that's a great foundation to have your ideal self and manifest the thoughts you want, because then when you are properly rested, it's easy to have a mental diet that is more positive. Therefore, you have less work and less effort you need to put on just by sleeping better and more. When you sleep more and better, your thoughts will be positive. Therefore, you won't need to fight, quote unquote, your negative thoughts so much, because you won't have them to begin with just by sleeping better. And even if you have them, you will have the energy to deal with them and replace them with positive intention. Whereas when you sleep deprived and you're tired, stress will come, fear will come, doubt will come, anxiety will come. So sleep more, rest more, push yourself a bit more, do the things you fear, act. If you want to be courageous, as he said, act courageously. If you want to be brave, act bravely. If you want to have quality life, act in a way that will lead you to have a quality life, which means sleeping more, taking care of the body. And also for the athletes out there, push yourself a little more. And you can see this in the playoffs a lot of time. The NBA playoffs have just finished yesterday. The Lakers won. I'm very happy about this. But you can see the difference between those athletes who push themselves to the limits and how they succeed, and how those who fail because they have all the physical attributes, they have all the talents in the world, but the mindset is fragmented, so to speak, is fragile. And the difference between those who succeed the most and those who succeed less is, generally speaking, in the mind. So focus on all these aspects. Be well-rounded and have a great life. That's very important. Well, I'm done for today. Hope you guys like this episode. Please comment and share your thoughts on what I said, on what I read. And if you want more information about me, check the description below. My information, my coaching information, my books. And please join, if you want, my private Facebook group. Thank you so much.